During the golden age of discovery, while most nations were engaged in exploration and expansion, the island empire of Japan stood aloof from the rest of the world. Throughout the centuries of their isolation, the Japanese evolved traditions, customs, and manners peculiar to themselves alone. Then in the mid-19th century, the introduction of scientific marvels aroused their interest in the ways of the Western world, and they opened their door to trade and commerce. In the short space of a single century, Japan has risen to a prominent position among the family of nations in commerce and industry. Despite this phenomenal advance in technical progress, the Japanese have clung to the past in manners and customs. Ours is the story of some of these customs that have endured, for here lies the true soul of Japan. It is in the rural areas that the past lives on most vividly. Here, even today, rice paddies are still worked by methods reminiscent of bygone days. Although each small paddy is individually owned, neighbor joins with neighbor in helping cultivate each other's fields. The homes of these farm folk are usually grouped together in small villages, centrally located and handy to all the fields. In the course of their daily lives, these villagers cling to many primitive methods. However, the Japanese do have a natural flair for adding touches of beauty to the most menial task. Even the public laundry can be artistic as well as practical. Throughout their age-old culture, the Japanese have evolved many unique practices. However, they would never think of relying on hard labor alone to assure a good harvest. It's believed the souls of their ancestors can prevent typhoons, droughts, and other crop devastations. So a spectacular lantern balancing festival is held to entreat their goodwill. The lantern racks, called kanto, are designed to represent stalks of grain. The higher the pole can be raised, the taller will grow the grain. So every effort is made to gain the greatest advantage in height. Even children enter the festivities, for it's hoped that new generations will carry on these age-old traditions. A trophy will be awarded to the most skillful, so each tries to outdo the other. It's believed the entire harvest hangs in the balance. In order to please the spirits, every conceivable form of trickery is resorted to. This calls for the utmost in concentration. But if you don't hold your mouth just right, a chain reaction may be set up. Whether due to entreaties to the spirits or hard labor, a bounteous harvest is enjoyed. For most farm folk, a 7-day work week is the rule. But once a year, the burdens of the present may be laid aside to recapture for a brief moment the glories of an honored past. The most illustrious figures in Japanese history were the samurai warriors. These national heroes are comparable to knights in armor in Anglo-Saxon lore and legend. Today, a chapter from their glorious past is recreated. The pomp and pageantry lasts all day long, and various groups join in as freedom from work in the fields permits. Costumes are regulated according to each man's heritage. No one but the direct descendant of a samurai warrior would think of wearing a samurai sword. The uniform and saddlery of an ancient general have been handed down to one of his direct descendants. It requires time for the general to dress, and at least an outward display of patience from those who are outranked. Samurai warriors gloried in the thrill of battle. They were noted for fine horsemanship, and so a horse race is one of the featured events. Before starting, each rider is required to secure a ticket from the judges. While awaiting the starting signal, the mounts line up at the post. Then, they're off. At the finish, each rider must return his ticket as proof that he ran the whole race. There's no equipment to record a photo finish, so there's often a difference of opinion between the judges as to just who won. Ancestral fidelity is the keynote of all festivals. In Kyoto's greatest celebration, elaborate shrines are provided in which these spirits may dwell. Carrying the shrines is an honor sought by all, for it's calculated to win merit in the eyes of one's ancestors. This centuries-old parade of shrines predates invention of the pivotal axle. The front wheels can't be used for steering, so wet sapling poles serve as skids. As the unwieldy juggernaut is moved on, proper homage has been paid glorious forebears. Another festival, originated by ancient warlords, features a battle of shrine against shrine. Months of painstaking effort are spent in the creation of these ornate structures, yet in the end, they become mere battering rams in the hands of opposing forces who vie for the favor of the spirits. The testing of a samurai sword assumes an equal degree of ritual and ceremony. A cemetery close to departed souls seems an appropriate locale. Before forging a new blade, a swordsmith and his assistants offer prayers to invoke blessings for the task. As weapons, samurai swords have long since been abandoned, but they're still in some demand as ornamental symbols that recall past glories. Between each painstaking step, the shrine is revisited to seek continuous spiritual guidance. Samurai warriors regarded the sword as the very soul of their existence. The artisan holds the same reverence toward the blade he creates as did his warrior ancestors. Indeed, such dedication to past glories is still shared by many craftsmen and artists alike. Inspired by a topic drawn from history, the artist approaches the creation of a woodblock print with zealous enthusiasm. In each intricate detail, he pours forth his talents to rival the valor of the ancient hero he immortalizes. Artistic inspiration finds application in industry as well, as historic figures and honored heroes are stenciled on bolts of silk. However, the ultimate in textile artistry is finger weaving. Though the work is tedious, the artisan finds inspiration in creating exquisite brocades in the tradition of his ancestors. The silk industry, like all else in Japan, has felt the influence of modern inroads. So here, too, the past blends with the present, to the accompaniment of a symphony of singing strands. Japan boasts a school system second to none, yet few changes have been made in fundamental learning. The nation's future scientists are taught mathematics on the primitive abacus. Though centuries old, the abacus can compete with the adding machine in speed and accuracy. While this ancient device proves adequate for teaching mathematics, learning to read and write is a different matter. Japanese is one of the world's most difficult languages. In contrast to the English alphabet of 26 letters, the Japanese child must learn at least 10,000 symbolic picture characters. While much of the curriculum is age-old, in music classes, outside influences have altered some of the customs of the long, long ago. Probably no people place greater emphasis on the social arts and graces than do the Japanese. Even the simple matter of serving tea must be performed with absolute perfection. Finishing schools conducted by recognized masters prepare young ladies of high birth for their future roles as wives and hostesses. The tea house is usually located in the peaceful setting of some quiet garden. Time and again, the girls are rehearsed in the proper manner of entering. The tiny door forces them to kneel, and and thus come into the presence of the host with proper humility. The master demands nothing less than perfection, and each detail is a study in delicacy. Even bits of charcoal must be placed just so, in the fire pit of clean, damp sand. Preparing and serving tea correctly is a highly cherished art. Yet, amid the strict ritual, no opportunity is overlooked to make the most of loveliness. For it is the nature of the Japanese spirit to delight in all things of beauty. To this end, nature herself has lent a willing hand. Each season paints a special scene in changing strokes of tone and hue. And yet in splendor, none can match the loveliness that comes with autumn, the time of falling leaves. This bursting of brilliant color signals nature's preparation for the dormant winter soon to come. But in the hearts of men, new fires are kindled. For autumn is the nuptial season in Japan. Though marriage customs are changing, some families still cling to the theory that matches should be made by parents. When it's time for a son to marry, the first step is to choose a suitable bride. In the presence of two close friends who will act as go-betweens, the father considers several photographs of girls from acceptable families. When a first choice has been decided upon, the go-betweens set out on their delicate mission of negotiation, for the parents would never think of contacting each other directly. If the girl's parents show interest in the proposal, the go-betweens arrange a tea. This is an opportunity for the families to get better acquainted. Also, it's often the first time the groom has seen the girl of his parents' dreams. Her name is Imiyaki, meaning smile of autumn. The sight of her must come as a pleasant surprise, since he had no part in choosing her for his bride. With the engagement announced, it's the custom for the families to exchange gifts. So the bride's father prepares a list of presents for the groom's family. If a dowry has been agreed upon, a sum of money may be included, or at least an attractively packaged IOU. The groom's family places great store in choosing a lucky day for the ceremony, so a priest is consulted by their representative. The bride's good luck receives no such formal consideration, so Imiyaki seeks a glimpse into her future by a sub-rosa visit to a fortune teller. The most popular seers make only those predictions pleasing to the customer. Very long and happy life, and many, many sons. On the day of the wedding, while her trousseau is made ready, Imiyaki helps with the dressing of her little sister. Social position demands that the wedding gown be the most elaborate and luxurious the family can afford. As time for the ceremony nears, Imiyaki's face is painted with a chalky makeup. Each article of her ensemble has traditional significance. A false coiffure recalls the style in which ladies of high fashion wore their hair in the olden days. The white hood serves as the bride's promise never to show jealousy. Her purse contains a good luck charm, but in case it doesn't work, she's given a tiny dagger. The ceremony itself is a long and complex ritual filled with symbolism. Each step is calculated to please honored ancestors. Vows are sealed by the couple exchanging sips of sake. The groom's declaration of promises is made not to his bride, but to illustrious ancestors. With the long ceremony finished, parental wishes and spiritual obligations have been fulfilled. News of the wedding has traveled fast. Outside the temple, a photographer for the society page awaits them.
恐れ入ります。おいおい、椅子を持ってきたまえ。はい、そのままで結構でございます。どうぞ。あ、お袴の裾がちょっと歪んでいるようで、結構でございます。で、ちょっとお下がり願いましょうか。はい、よろしゅうございますか。参りますよ。はい、どうぞ。
At last, it's time for the fun to begin. The wedding reception includes close relatives and many friends dressed in their finest attire. There is exotic food served in elaborate fashion, and for liquid refreshment, there's plenty of sake. To further heighten the enjoyment, there's professional entertainment. Gaily costumed geisha girls perform in pantomime an ancient and romantic legend of Japan. Suddenly, the groom is struck with a novel idea of starting the honeymoon. And so, unnoticed by anyone, they steal away, in plain sight of everyone. And so it is that in time-honored traditions, changes are taking place, and the old ways are fast disappearing. And yet there is a quality about this place and its people that has endured unchanged by the passage of time. It is the very soul of Japan. It finds its highest expression in the delicacies, beauty, and exquisite grace of the stylized dance. It is seen in the spirit of a people who take such delight in the things of beauty that the blossoming of cherry trees is occasion for a national holiday. The soul of Japan. It is evident, too, in ancestral traditions that hold to form and beauty. It is found in a deep reverence toward the things of the spirit, in attributing the quality of soul to all things. Even an ordinary rock is a cherished treasure when set in a garden of sand. Strange as they are, the customs of Japan are accurate reflections of the land from which they spring, a land that can be likened to no other place on earth. This has been the story of that land of yesterday as it lives on today. As the past slips slowly but certainly into the future, the traditions of yesterday may soon be lost in all the tomorrows yet to come. And yet there's something that will live on. It is the spirit of this people. For in this high regard for an honored past lies the true soul of Japan.